Life number 8, Russia. Although Tayo had once sacrificed his life to save Murry, but that had been for someone he truly loved. Could he also make the same sacrifice for a stranger? He asked himself. He had heard of humans who had done this, so why not a Pasha? The night was dark, and a chill wind was chasing the first snow flurries of winter across the great streets of St. Petersburg. Inside the tall house, all was quiet, and a roaring fire blazed in the huge fireplace as little Tatiana's pet cat gave birth to 2 blue-gray kittens, one male and one female, in the softly lined basket.
"Come quickly, Anna Ivanovna. Mishkin has had her babies,"
Tatiana called excitedly. Her elderly nanny waddled into the room as fast as her short legs would carry her.
"Let old Anna have a look, my little snowflake."
For that was her special name for the little girl she had cared for and been a constant companion to since she was a tiny baby. The nanny peered hard into the little mass of wet fur, but was greeted with some appropriate growls and hisses from Mishkin.
"Let the little mother be alone with her kittens for a while, my darling. She will let us know when we may look at them. They are alive and well, and that is what matters now."
Tatiana Ilitsianova was just 10 years old. Her parents already had 3 grown-up sons when she was born, each of whom had followed their father's footsteps into the army. She was therefore a lonely child, which was why Mishkin meant so much to her. Of course, Tayo was one of Mishkin's kittens. He was now a little female who Tatiana named Trishka, while her brother Boris eventually became known as Bobo the Fearless, a title which surely speaks for itself. The kittens thrived, but one day Tatiana's parents had Mishkin taken away to have an operation so that she would not have any more kittens. She never came back, and when Anna told Tatiana that she had died during the operation, the little girl was heartbroken. From that moment on, Tatiana transferred all her affection to Trishka, and a deep bond developed between them. In time, Trishka and Bobo were also taken away for surgery, and fortunately both survived. Tayo really liked being a Russian blue, since he had never been one before, and as Trishka grew older and stronger, her coat became more and more beautiful. But, as Tayo had already learned through several lives, things seldom run smoothly for very long where humans are concerned. One day, when Tatiana returned home in the carriage, after visiting the house of her parents' friends, she suddenly burst into tears and cried long and hard on Tayo's back.
"What shall we do, little Trishka, if they drive us away, too?"
Tayo was not quite sure what it was all about, although he was able to read enough of Tatiana's thoughts to know that she and her family were in some kind of danger. Anna comforted her.
"Dry your tears, little snowflake. Old Anna will take care of you." "And I know you will, dear Anna Ivanovna, but do be careful what you say to the coachman, Yuri Mikhailovich. I do not trust the man, and feel he is an enemy." Come now, my darling. Has he not been in service here for 20 years or more? Why would he betray us?" Like Tatiana, Tayo also suspected that all was not well among the household staff, but neither of them could tell Anna, for she would not understand. It was not long before the situation became worse. There had been riots in the streets for some time, and Tayo had become used to the noise and clatter. But on this night, it was different. The heavily bolted doors and windows of the mansion were being smashed in, and the mob was trying to enter. Tatiana's brothers had arrived on the scene some days earlier and had begun preparations for a hasty departure. So when her brother, Alexei, instructed the servants to take them to safety, Anna had a warm cloak ready and some clothes packed for Tatiana and a cozy basket for Trishka and Bobo.
But things did not work out quite as planned. They managed to escape from the house through a secret cellar and make their way to the outskirts of the city, but they were discovered by a band of army deserters who, seeing Alexei in his uniform, set upon him. Although they fought bravely, Alexei and the servants were killed by the mob, but the grieving and frightened Tatiana and Anna managed to escape in the confusion and hide among the shattered buildings until the noise and confusion had died down. For a while, they wandered in the countryside together, not knowing where to go, until they finally met up with other refugees like themselves who had managed to escape the anger of the revolutionary crowd. After much discussion, the little group decided to make their way to the woods in the north and try to get to Russia's border with Finland, as the people of those parts were kindly disposed towards helping refugees. But the weather was bitterly cold and the going was hard. The travelers, mainly women and children, with 2 elderly male retainers, were soon exhausted, and the younger children were crying with cold and hunger. The thick forest protected them from the revolutionaries, but there was little food to be had, and matters were becoming desperate. Of course, the cats had not been fed either, although Tatiana let them out now and again to catch little creatures of the night. It was Bobo the Fearless, in pursuit of a ground squirrel, who brought the attention of the travelers to the fact that he was faring better than they were. As he darted in front of a young, dark-haired lady trying to comfort her shivering child, the woman cried out, "Catch it and kill it, Nikolai, and we will have some supper tonight." No sooner had the woman spoken when one of the men grabbed Bobo by the scruff of the neck, while the woman made haste to prepare his body for the fire. Of course, Tatiana could not eat the morsels of food that were passed around the warm fire that evening. Her own hunger grew, but her fear that someone might discover Trishka became even greater. Terrified of losing her only surviving love, she silently withdrew deeper into the forest, clutching the basket containing Trishka close to her heart. And so another day passed as the cold and starving party trudged wearily onward. 2 babies had died during the night of the cold and lack of milk. Only 3 children now remained, although they too were beginning to fail. Now, Tayo knew intuitively that one more day would see them safely in the village that lay ahead, where the friendly townspeople would welcome and feed them. But could the children make it? There was only one way. A sacrifice had to be made. Tatiana and Anna had made sure to keep well away from the others when they let Trishka out of her basket to forage for food and take care of the call of nature. But this time, as darkness fell and the basket lid was opened, Trishka ran straight toward a little group of cold, starving people and offered herself. A woman's voice cried out, "Look, there's another cat! Get it quickly, Igor! My prayer to the Econ has been answered." Rough hands closed around Trishka's neck, and in a moment it was all over. But as Tayo, the Pasha, paused happily over the figures of the hungry children as they ate, he became aware of another figure standing by his side. It was dear Murry. Below, in the dark depth of the forest, an old woman stood weeping over the body of a little girl who had died clutching a small basket to her broken heart. Tayo and Murry returned together to their ancestors, each knowing that the sacrifice had been worth it.